We're going to be talking about pH balance because, you know, during the holidays, we tend to have really not so healthy diets because of all the parties, the sugar, the cookies, all that stuff. And so we've been kind of making up topics or talking about topics that are relevant to the season. So we've talked about the flu shot, increasing certain foods and drinks in your diet to help you stay healthy, and some natural ways to do that. So tonight we're talking about pH because we talk about it a lot in the office, and I know that I hear Dr. Nepute talking about it all the time, but I'm not quite sure if everyone completely understands what it is, why it's important to understand, and how it relates to you and your body and your health. So we're going to get pretty deep tonight in this topic. So I hope that you guys will stay with us. I'm sure you will. So, of course, we have our little pH scale down here, but Abby's going to talk a little bit about what it is and just kind of explain the basics about it. You guys might know some of this stuff, but we're going to go over it anyway.
It's one of the first things that we do when we see a new patient and an old patient. We do it quite often to check your pH. So what it is just a measure of the acidity or the basicity. Is that how you say that? Mm-hmm. Or alkalinity of your body. When we do, well, Katie will talk about that later. So the pH scale ranges from 0 to 14, 7 being neutral. I think water is usually at a 7 also. Mm-hmm. Less than 7 is acidic, greater than 7 is basic or alkaline.
And what we usually do in our office is two things. We sometimes test saliva pH. Almost always we test urine pH. And some people have kind of asked us, what's the difference between the two? Why is one so different from the other? So your urine pH is more of a reflection of the processes that your body is undertaking to help remove acid from your body. So if your urine is pretty acidic, like at a 5.0 or 5.5, then that typically means your whole body, your organs are working really hard to filter stuff. I mean, generally you're just pretty acidic. Okay, your urine is a really good reflection of what's going on inside your body. Your saliva pH, it can be a little bit different, even at different times of the day, you know, morning compared to night. It can differ from your urine pH, and the reason for that is because your mouth is more likely to contain acidic bacteria throughout the day. I mean, think about the things you eat, the things you drink. Coffee, a lot of people have coffee every single morning, so you're starting out, you know, with an acidic day. But also if you were to brush your teeth, you know, it might show to be a little more alkaline right after. So that's the reason why those tend to differ from each other. Blood pH is really important.
Yeah, it should be between 7.35 and 7.45. And Katie and I were talking about it earlier. It's really hard to kind of get outside that range.
Yeah.
But if it is below or above this range, it means you're going to have symptoms and disease. A blood pH of 6.9, only slightly acidic, can induce coma and death. So you can kind of imagine how important it is to keep your body balanced. It's crazy. It kind of blows my mind. It's scary.
Yeah, and the reason, and don't be like freaked out or anything that, oh my gosh, if I have some, you know, one glass of coffee, my pH in my blood is going to become acidic. That's not the case at all. Your body works really hard all day long to keep your acidity between 7.35 and 7.45. That's a really, really tight range. And so constantly your body is working to keep that exactly where it should be. So what it does to maintain this balance is it has different buffering systems. And I'm not going to go into huge detail. There's 3 main buffering systems. It gets pretty scientific, but one of the most interesting ones that I read about was when the body pulls calcium phosphate from your bones and your teeth to help alkalize your blood. So if you consistently have an acidic diet, acidic drinks, not exercising very much, I mean, just in general, your body is just very acidic on the inside, your body has to do something to keep your blood at that normal level so you don't die or fall into a coma, right? Because that tight range needs to stay right there. So calcium phosphate is something that makes our bones and our teeth really strong. It helps us prevent cavities and all kinds of stuff. But when our blood pH starts to suffer, it immediately pulls that out and helps to alkalize our blood. Now the problem with that is when these buffering systems overwork or are overloaded for many years due to us not really taking care of our bodies or eating healthy or eating nice alkaline foods. So these buffering systems are working hard every single day to make sure our blood stays at this certain pH balance. And the example that I use with calcium phosphate is when that's pulled from your bones of your teeth for long periods of time, it eventually causes your bones to become weak and your teeth to become weak. Your teeth can't defend against bacteria anymore, so you get things like cavities, you have to have root canals, all kinds of stuff like that, because it's losing its essential nutrients to try to save your life. The body's number one priority is keeping you alive, whether that means it needs to give you a disease to keep you alive or make you feel crappy or tired or fatigued or whatever it is. It's got to keep you alive, and it'll do whatever it can to do that, which is pretty amazing, actually. Your body is extremely intelligent. So when it pulls all this from your bones and your teeth, you know, people can later in life get things like osteoporosis, or they might have to get all their teeth pulled and get dentures because their teeth just were not in a healthy enough state to stay in their mouth anymore. Another thing that can happen in this particular case, when your calcium phosphate is just hanging out in your blood and trying to alkalize everything, you know, your kidneys filter your blood. So when this calcium phosphate is hanging out in your blood for long periods of time, your kidneys have to try to filter that out so that it doesn't get too overloaded. And what happens is kidney stones. Have you guys ever had a kidney stone before? It could have been because there's lots of calcium phosphate floating around and your body is constantly trying to balance things out. So I thought that was a really interesting example because a lot of people can relate to things like osteoporosis and cavities and kidney stones. I mean, a lot of us at least know people who have had issues like that before. The good news is, of course, that you can protect your body and you can give these buffering systems a break by doing some of the things that we're going to mention, because osteoporosis is completely avoidable. It's not just some disease everybody gets when you get old. You know, once you hit 60, they say, okay, you got to watch out for your bone mass, you got to watch out for all kinds of stuff. Osteoporosis is not an inevitable diagnosis that you're going to get. You can prevent that. And if you have it, you can help strengthen your bones by doing some of the things we're going to talk about. Because our bodies are always trying to heal, constantly trying to heal.
So what happens to the body when your pH is low or you're acidic? You lose the body's ability to absorb minerals and other nutrients, which is, gosh, it's so crazy. Just the balance of your body is so important. Decrease in energy production in the cells, decrease in ability to repair damaged cells, decrease in ability to detoxify heavy metals. Tumor cells will thrive, or cancer in other words. The body will be more susceptible to fatigue and illness. So almost everything is affected by your body's pH level.
Yep.
And how do I alkalize is the next question. To maintain a good balance, you want 60% of your foods to be alkaline forming foods and 40% to be acid. So you do need acid to balance things out. You can't just eat alkaline foods. And to restore health, if you find that you're really, really acidic, you want to do 80% alkaline until you get that balance and only 20% of the acid forming foods.
Which we focus a lot on this with a lot of our patients too, because initially when they come in to see us, typically what we see in the urine samples is that they're really acidic, you know, to 5.0 or 5.5. So immediately, you know, we start them on some alkalizing products, alkalizing foods, things like that.
It's really common.
Yeah, and it's
everybody.
And especially with wellness in general and chiropractic, one of the main things that we tell people is you have to alkalize and you have to drink tons of water because it keeps your joints lubricated. It keeps the discs in your spine healthy and full of nutrients. That's why we do that. We don't just, say it just willy-nilly. I mean, we have to get people healthy and up to optimum levels on the inside before we can ever help them heal on the outside. So that's why we do that.
All right, so these are examples of the good stuff, the alkaline foods. Most fruits, there are some exceptions. Actually, there are a lot of exceptions for fruits because once you digest them, we'll give you a list and you can kind of see. Greens and vegetables, which I think are probably one of the most important things. The greens first line that some of you guys use, not just the pH alkalizer, but the greens and the berries that you see up there, those all help to balance your level. Peas, beans, lentils, spices, herbs and seasonings, seeds and nuts. Katie put a cute little chart up here so you can see like all the good alkaline things: limes, red radish, papaya, asparagus, spinach, kale, broccoli, dates, lemon, which was a surprising one to me, avocado, alfalfa, wheatgrass, beets, almonds, sprouted or soaked anything, legumes, sprouted and soaked nuts, dark leafy greens, flaxseed oil, sweet potatoes, melons, kiwi, berries, carrots, zucchini, garlic, figs, and cucumber. That's why they say garlic is so good when you're sick.
Yeah, you can put garlic in tea. I mean, you can use it in a stir fry. You can do so much stuff with garlic. It's crazy, and it's so good for you. It doesn't give you the best breath, but it's really good for you. Some examples of acid-forming foods are, ta-da, meat, you know, everything we know and love and are addicted to, really. I mean, it's really easy to get addicted to dairy. I mean, I know a lot of people that are just like, I have to have milk. I crave milk all the time. Believe it or not, dairy products are acidic for your body. So if you do have a lot of dairy in your diet, balance that out with tons of greens, tons of fruits, tons of some of the stuff that Abby was talking about. Meat, fish, poultry, eggs, grains, legumes, greasy foods, surprising, right? Jack in the Box, very acidic. Dairy, like I said, sugar, coffee and tea, unfortunately. I love coffee too. And then processed and refined food, this is always on the bad list. Processed and refined food you'll never see it on the good list. So it is good to just be aware of the type of things that are acidic and the type of things that are alkaline, because knowing these things will just help you make better decisions, you know? Maybe you do go out and have a burger and fries. Balance that out in the evening by having a spinach salad with tomatoes on it and avocado and lemon squeeze over the top or something, you know? Yes, Dave? Yeah, of course. Yeah, Abby has, we're gonna talk about some of the stuff that she'll hand out. It's really cool how not just the alkalinity of the foods themselves, but when you ingest them, you know, what happens in your body when you ingest them. It's really neat. Some other ways to reduce acidity in your body is, of course, exercising, even massage therapy. It just helps your muscles contract. When your muscles contract, it squeezes your lymphatic system, helps your body push out a bunch of waste and toxins and acids. Really, really good for you. I mentioned here too, have you guys ever gone on a walk or a jog or done some kind of exercise and then you immediately had to go to the bathroom because it got your bowels moving? That's good for you. That needs to happen. Exercise induces all these things and it gets your body moving and it gets your body doing what it's supposed to do, which is you take in nutrients, you eliminate waste. That's what our bodies are made to do. And in the meantime, hopefully you're taking in things that will help you heal yourself. Colloidal silver, we talk about this all the time, and we have this exact product in our office, and we have all their stuff actually. The really cool thing about this, and I didn't know this about colloidal silver until recently, but it not only supports your body's natural defense system, so your immune system, helps you fight off germs, bacteria, flu, stuff like that, it's also powerfully alkaline. Very, very alkaline. So we always recommend this for people who are not only sick, but also for people who are healthy and want to stay healthy. You can just, do 5 sprays under the tongue every single day, and just know that when you do that, you're boosting your immune system and you're also providing some alkalinity in your body, which is really good. And then of course, I think a lot of you guys have already heard of the alkalizer that we carry. It's by a company called Greens First. They are actually currently out of stock. Unfortunately, we came up with this topic and wanted to talk about this for so long, and then they reformulated their formula, and it was such a huge hit. A lot of people really loved it. They took away the grape taste, which a lot of people love that they took that grape taste away. And they sold out. They're on back order until January, unfortunately. But
the new formula is a PM formula, so you actually take it, I think, 30 minutes before bed, which is, I think, really wise, because your body does a lot of work while you're sleeping, especially your liver. So you're cleansing, you're balancing, and you wake up and hopefully eliminate some of that junk.
So does it
Yeah.
taste any better?
I've heard that it does. We haven't tasted it.
You know, my parents have been taking that, and they,
I know
The grape is rough.
people either love grape or they hate grape. So I think they stripped it of the grape taste in general, and I don't know what it tastes like now, but apparently it's really awesome. Because I mean, literally, you can go to Amazon, you can go to Greens First, you can go everywhere, and it's out of stock everywhere. We tried. We really tried.
There's also a fun note about the silver. Dr. Eric always talks about it, but this is actually something that used to be used in place of antibiotics in certain cases before we had come out with all this fancy stuff. So it really works.
Yep, it really does.
Hold in 48 hours. My silver and my alkalizer and eating the right stuff.
And a patient told me yesterday that all airlines put colloidal silver in their water supply on the plane because, you know, it's tons of people, sometimes hundreds of people crammed in this tiny flight, sometimes an overnight flight, 15, 16 hours, whatever. And they got to make sure that no bacteria and stuff gets in the water. So they throw silver in there to kill all the bacteria so nobody gets sick. And I had no idea. And I said, is that on all flights? He's like, I think it's standard protocol for any type of liquid that goes in that plane. So that was really interesting. So that's all the information that we have.